Motorsport Radio.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Motorsport Talks, to this very special show where we are previewing one of the most powerful, fastest events on the Santa Pod calendar, as well as in Britain. The Festival of Power is an incredible event, and joining me to discuss this event is Luke Stevenson, Antti Horto, Jason Phelps, and some others that will be joining us later on in the show. But I'll first ask Luke to describe some more about this incredible event held over the course of this weekend.
Good evening, Joshua. Good to see you again. Well, this weekend, when you say Festival of Power, it is literally over 300 entrants taking part in a weekend of racing over the Easter weekend at Santa Pod Raceway. We have got, of course, the guys on here. I'm basically here to referee, because we've got Antti Horto, is the dragster driver. We've got Jason Phelps, who is the funny car driver. Over the weekend, we've got jet cars, we've got monster trucks, drift cars, circus acts, everything. Santa Pod Raceway is basically the family place to go this weekend, and that's obviously you come to see the horsepower.
Well, this is it. The horsepower is obviously the main stage, but there is lots of things for the kids to do. Just quickly, the tickets, of course, are pre-book only, and they're not too bad, actually, especially if you pre-book early. Friday, Saturday, Sunday for an adult is £85 or £110 if you get a standard ticket. Gates open at 8. If you come on the arrival, it's a little bit more with the camping, or just for the day, it's £30. So it's a decent day out. You've got the lovely weather. But, of course, I'm sure the people here would want to know who the people are. So I'm going to start with you, Antti. Tell me a bit about yourself and the incredible vehicle you'll be driving this weekend.
Hi. Good evening, all. It's great to get back to the track again after the winter. As I live in Finland, we have still snow on the ground, so hopefully you have a better weather there. Yeah. A little about me. I have been in track racing 25 years now. So I have started from juniors and going through many classes, and last 10 years in top fuel dragsters, which are the fastest cars on the planet, as you said. For me, Festival of Power is the first race after the winter. It's a good way to test the car and test the driver after the winter, how it goes, and before the FIA Championship starts at the end of August. End of May.
Yes, exactly. To help the listeners at home, Antti, what sort of power output do these top fuel dragsters produce?
Nowadays, we are talking about 11 to 12,000 horsepower. That's a quite lot to take out of those motors.
That is So, guys at home, it's 12,000 horsepower. For a quarter mile, then, what sort of times would you be looking at to do?
Yeah, as we now race on 1,000 feet, we are looking about times like 3.8, low of them, then maybe 3.7, and top speed over 300 miles per hour.
So that's fast. Then that's probably. So Luke, just to help put it into perspective for the people at home, a ordinary family car would do a 60 feet in what time, roughly?
You're depending on the setup. Let's say 2 seconds, but let's say your ordinary family car. The sort of people obviously that are watching Motorsport Radio. Let's say let's go for your Golf R hot hatch. That's maybe 12, 11 second quarter mile around about 115 miles an hour. Then maybe let's go to some of the motorsport bigwigs and they're driving, say, their Aston Martin. Then we're talking maybe a 12-second pass at probably 120. Then maybe some of the drivers who have got out of their race cars, they've got in their sports car Lamborghinis, then we may be talking like an 11-second at about 100, 135. Obviously, most of the people that you speak to with Motorsport Radio, and we really appreciate that you're now branching out to basically teach some of the viewers about drag racing. It is a completely different ballgame when you go into the big cars with drag racing. Literally, I think one of my favourite quotes from the podcast was when we were speaking with Jason and he spoke with one of the other guys from Motorsport and they just looked in the engine bay and he went, "Push rods, it's the future."
Yeah, so you're looking at about 4 times the speed of your average family car down the drag strip, maybe even up to 10 or 11 times the speed of a family car for a top fuel. Just to put that into perspective.
There's no way to equate a family car to what these guys are going to go through. It's not just the speeds, it's what they have to physically put their bodies through on a run. Your family car, you're going to sit in the car grinning as you go down the racetrack, whereas these guys are dealing with G-forces on acceleration and then also on deceleration when they're pulling the parachutes. And as much as we'd like to get drag racing on TV, we do the SantaPod Live free podcast, of course, on SantaPod TV, the YouTube channel and the Facebook page. Being there is just a whole new level. It's a whole new sensory game.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can vouch for that. I've been there when Top Fuel Dragsters have gone down, and the ground shakes, and you can actually feel the air being sucked out from around you as they go past. I mean, Antti, if possible, can you describe what it generally feels like to do a run? Like, what does it do to your body to do a run in a Top Fuel Dragster?
It's almost impossible to compare it to anything. It's something you need to feel, and I feel really lucky that I have got that feeling, and I know how it feels. I have to say, when I started, I was a little bit scared about it, but after the runs, I get used to it, and that's what we need if we want to compete with these cars and race with these cars. But as I said, it's almost impossible to describe how it feels.
Yeah, I can imagine. Thank you, Antti. Jason, obviously you're not in the Top Fuel, but you're in this class slightly below, which is the funny car.
Hang on. I drive funny cars.
Joshua, they basically run the same engine, but Jason runs it in a shorter wheelbase vehicle. So technically, Jason would like to tell you it's harder.
I drive Gladiator funny car. What Andy's just said is absolutely spot on. When you first do the job, you stand on the throttle, it's like the world's going to end. The difference is I sit behind the car engine, so I see all the madness in front of me, whereas Andy, they're more of a refined, they're more of a racing vehicle, whereas we're just, we're to make a show, really, and to make it look like production cars, like my Camry and stuff. But what Andy said is absolutely spot on. You can't describe it. What else do you say? What can you say? It's like doing this in this or this in this. It's like nothing ever you've ever been in. Maybe like a space shuttle. I don't know. You know what I mean? I've never been in a space shuttle.
Yeah, because your funny car is, I can't think of any other way to describe it, but based on a Toyota Camry, even though it's not at all based on Toyota Camry, it's basically the body's on the engine, isn't it? Essentially.
Well, yeah, it's a big cover. Obviously, they go through wind tunnels. You couldn't, when you're going through the air like we do, you're going through jelly. You're not going through air. You're going through jelly. So it has to be strengthened and stretched out and laid back and all that sort of stuff. That's how it is. Otherwise, it wouldn't survive. It'd fall apart.
And Jason, how long have you been racing in sort of drag racing and sort of funny cars, and sort of how did you get into it?
I've been in it. I come from a family of drag racers. I've been in it forever and ever and ever. I've actually been driving funny cars for, I think, about 11 years. I'd have to work it out. But about 11 years. But my first ever race meeting was, I think, November 1985. And I ran in a wheel stander at the show meeting. So, yeah, I've been doing it a while. I had a bit of a break.
And what sort of ET times would you be looking at this weekend? Even because it's obviously the first meeting since Christmas, so I would have thought you'd be looking to go faster than at Festival Power. But what sort of times, what ballpark would you be looking at?
It's the first round of our championship. For Antti, it's a test meeting. For us, it's the first round of the Funny Car Cup. I don't care what I run as long as I get to the other end first.
That's the main goal.
That is the main.
We've all forgotten about this. It's not really about times. It's about if you get to the other end first.
Yeah.
Simple as that. For a record, about 4:20 would be nice.
That would be nice. That would be nice.
It just shows the people at home just how quick. We're talking about a race being done and dusted in under 5 seconds, and it's hard to really even compare when you say that you've got a race where you've got two cars going down side by side at 4-second ETs. I mean, Jason, what is that like when you've got a car next to you and you're doing nearly 300 mile an hour after just 100,000 feet?
You've got to be on your game. They're not particularly difficult things to do, but you're doing it in a very, very high pressure situation. So Annie's a class driver. I don't watch other drag racing really, but Annie is class. And it's just about keeping your head together. Otherwise, you'll throw it away. You can throw it away just like that. You know what I mean? I don't know what that was. Say blew up.
And Antti, what's your sort of, because you're a top fuel, what's your sort of aims for the season? Are you taking part in the FIA World Championship, or you just?
Yeah, of course, there was now two last seasons that we didn't race at all the championship. 2017 and 18, I was on a second place, so I think there is only one option, and that's the championship, winter championship, and that's why we are there next week, and we are testing the car before the championship starts.
That's it. Those seasons actually feel so long away now. You were here for European finals last year, where I don't want to say you got beat up by the girls, but obviously it was Ida and Suzanne in the final. And Ida has been impressing a lot of people. She did one of the quickest 8s last year just on her licensing runs. Now, obviously, you're going to be facing the girls again this weekend. Are you looking for revenge?
Yeah. As you said, the girl was a little bit faster last time. But, I like to get a good run. I like to get at least one good run on a weekend, and I would be happy about that. I don't know how the championship will go on this summer, but hope we can get cars back on a track, and that could be a good, very, very nice championship going on.
I'll say a question to both of you. First runs of the season, do they still feel nervous when you're first getting back in that car?
If I start, it's always different after the winter. It is. First run is always first run.
I was going to let Anthony answer that first, but yes, the first run is the first run, and it's always the night before. You're about to. There's no such thing as a natural in this game because it's not natural. Do you know what I mean? So But by the second run, everything's all okay. To be honest with you, when the thing starts up, it all goes a bit calmer. But even the anticipation of getting to the point where they wait for the car to start, that's really where the anticipation is. And then it all calmed down. Get a nice solid half pass in or something like that to get you going, you all feel better.
That's absolutely right.
When we previously spoke, Jason, one of the comments that you made was, as a driver in fuel funny car, you don't really get enough runs. So obviously people expect a lot more of the cars, but you struggle with runs. Now that you've got the Funny Car Cup and it is going to be based at Santa Pod Raceway, does that give you more confidence because you're basically going to be running at your home track? You've now got 4 rounds of racing. Do you think that will improve your season for you and the rest of the Funny Car guys?
I think everyone's going to benefit from that. Well, we're coming out of such an unusual period of time. Obviously, I don't know who knows about it. Obviously, I blew my car to smithereens a couple of years ago in the middle of COVID. And the 8 months of trying to get our car ready, it was 8 months, but it was 8 months in COVID with lockdowns and you weren't allowed to meet up with people. We've not been near the track. Andy's not been near the track since 17, I think he said, or, the finals. But one weekend's not going to let you get into any run. The European side of this sport has been really, really hit. And we're all just hoping for a decent run at it. And hopefully this is the year where we'll get back and get going again. And then you get some, and then that's it. You know what I mean?
I like that. It all sounds positive. That's what I want to hear. And obviously, I think we're all positive because you can't be anything else. What are you going to be? Well, this is true.
Well, this is it. Thank you so much, Antti and Jason, for taking up your time in the preparing for the event this weekend to talk to me. It's been great having you on, and I'm sure we'll probably have you on later on in the year, maybe. But next we shall talk to some more drivers about this upcoming Easter extravaganza. By all means, like and subscribe our share. Motorsport Radio, we're on all the Facebook, social media networks. Like, subscribe, send us a comment. What did you think about hearing from the 2 fast drivers that are taking part this weekend?
This is Motorsport Radio. Join the conversation. Contact the show on Twitter, on Facebook, and on our website, Motorsport Radio.
Okay, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this lovely Festival of Power preview as we talk on Motorsport Radio to some incredible drivers. You've just heard from Antti and Jason there about the challenges they're facing driving these multiple 1,000 horsepower monsters down the Santa Pod drag strip. And we're now going to talk to some drivers who are driving maybe slightly different vehicles and more vehicles that maybe you might associate with you guys at home. We've got Stephen Mellors in his Mazda MX-5, and we have Annie Wallace, who is driving her Pro Mod Ford Mustang. Now, Luke, for those people listening, obviously most of them probably haven't heard of these classes before. So Pro Mod, and obviously what Stephen's taken part in, which is a Sportsman, they're more road sort of vehicles, but they're not road vehicles in the Pro Mod sense. Well,
the class that Steve is in, yes, it is more road legal cars and the odd few race cars. But the class Annie is in basically your all-out badass Larry door slammer cars. They're nothing that goes on a street. And it is the fastest door car class in the world.
Yeah, so we'll talk to you, Stephen, first. Your Mazda MX-5, I was asking you a bit earlier on about this. It is a standard MX-5, isn't it?
Yeah, it's completely standard. I drive it to and from pod to every event. I will race it all weekend and then drive it back home.
Yeah, so obviously you have that extra challenge because unlike, say, Luke, who gets his car off a trailer, drives down the strip, if it breaks, he can put it back on the trailer. You don't have that luxury with your MX-5. If it breaks, you're sort of going to have to fix it before you can get home.
Yeah, well, luckily for me, I've got quite a few sponsors in the local area, including a breakdown recovery one, so I'm pretty much covered in that sense. But yeah, a lot of Sportsman drivers have broken before and had to fix it before they go home because obviously AA won't pick you up from the gate.
No, and I'm guessing obviously as well as a Sportsman, it's quite hard to actually do it well because it's a standard car. They're not built to go down the strip. They're not tuned to go down the strip. Getting it to go down the strip consistently, because Sportsman is run to a time rather than a competition, that's got to be one of the big challenges.
Yeah, it definitely got some getting used to try and get it consistent, like getting the tyre pressures and everything right. Obviously, mine's on coilovers, so we were adjusting the coilovers to try and dampen the bounce. But yeah, it is pretty difficult to keep them consistent, although I'm not turbocharged, so I am pretty consistent.
Yeah, so obviously your MX-5, you call it the Hulk Racing. Obviously, the livery was quite iconic last year and the year before taking part in the Sportsman. You've got a new livery that you're going to unveil at Santa Pod, which is another reason to go down there to see this new livery, which I've been told is pretty epic. What made you get into drag racing in your Mazda MX-5?
So originally I was going to race with Luke's lot in the VW DRC, but I was doing some coming to some drag events like the Euro finals and the events that were on during COVID. And a few of the spectators asked why the car wasn't on the track. And so I had to speak with a few people and we decided that we was going to race the car just last year. And then this year I was going to join the VW DRC, but I've decided to keep the car for one more year because we're going to put a new driver in it next year, and then I'm going to join the VW DRC in a different vehicle.
Oh, yes. Now, Steve, obviously, again, like we did with the Funny Car guys, can you just explain to the viewers what Sportsman ET class is all about?
So Sportsman ET is bracket racing, so you're not racing heads up. In the qualifying rounds, you'll both leave the light at the same time, but you'll dial in your time. So say you dial in a 16.1 and then you run a 16.2, then it's whoever's closest to running their index that would win number one qualifier. Then you go through into eliminations. So the slowest driver will get released first, and then the second will be the faster driver to the difference of their ET. Yeah,
and essentially the class is a nice bit. The reason it's called Sportsman ET is obviously it is the basically the sportsman end of drag racing. Is anyone can join in this class. So you can join up in your daily driver, you can join in your weekend warrior, or you can have a race car basically built that is going to go 12 seconds or slower. So it's a nice option. Now, obviously, you're a stick-shifted car. Most of drag racing can be auto-shifting. So at times you could be at a disadvantage.
Yeah. We've also got the Tesla coming back this year as well. So.
Okay. And he's in the house.
And he's in.
He is. Little Miss Technology.
I do apologise. My technology is not my strong point.
That's all right. We got to see your lovely nails quite a few times instead.
They're not going to last very long. I've already had a few comments about clutch dust covering my nice nails.
Sure. So I'll take it that you're going to be mechanicking this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, whether I race or whether Bobby races, I do the mechanics. Myself, my brother and my dad, we're always the mechanics, but it just means I have to think about driving as well as working on the car.
Nice. There's no relaxing in your team. Obviously, you're racing this weekend with the Mustang. Your brother Bobby has the other Mustang as well. Do you have to... Oh, Chevrolet, sorry. Whoa, because you said that wrong. Obviously, do you have to take it in turns, obviously, being a team?
Yeah, so we have decided this year to enter as a team, which is our first year of doing it. So we're going to enter as Wallace Motorsport, and then we're going to just try our best to place well in the championship. We'll just do an event each. So I'll start, Bobby will do main event, and so on.
Nice. So does that mean Bobby will be in his car? As a team, can you still swap cars?
You can, you can use your own car. There's just certain rules. I don't think you can't swap in the middle of a meeting or anything. But obviously, we've got our own cars. I like mine and he likes his. I'm not swapping.
Oh, that's fair enough. Now, again, as we said to Steve earlier, and we said to Auntie and Jason, a lot of the people that are probably watching Motorsport TV just getting to know drag racing. We're trying to get it more and more. So people, obviously, you run in the Pro Modified class. Would you just be able to give us a little explanation of the class to the viewers?
I can do. So Pro Modified, there's 3 different types. You've got nitrous power, which is what I run. You've got the blown engines, and then you've got the turbo. That's the 3 types of power that you'll get. They're all pretty similar. Time and speed wise, the fastest I've run, just to put it into perspective, is 6:13 at 2:29. But obviously there's a lot more to come. Bobby has ran, I believe, he's going to quote me now, 5:97, 2:45, I think. So obviously he has got a bit more of an advanced car, so he's got a bit more power, bigger engine than me. My engine is 886 cubic inch. He's got a 903. So yeah, they are big.
Can we do that in English for the people watching? What is that in litres?
Cubic inch, so 903 cubic inch. So with the nitrous, it's 3,000 horsepower.
What size engine? As in, for the British people watching, because that's
as in CC
83. What's that in litres? Do you reckon?
Oh, I don't know the. That one.
It's a lot. It's well over 10 litres. Let's say it like that. We're just trying to basically go baby steps for the people that are watching. But yeah I mean, the nitrous motors in the Pro Mod class are generally a lot bigger than the forced inducted cars.
They are, yeah, they are.
I mean,
so this weekend,
it's basically. To put it for people at home that might understand it better, it's more or less double the size of the engine that was in the Cobra. So the Cobra, the 427, it's more or less just a bit more than double the size of that. So you can work out that way.
Yeah.
Now, see, this weekend, looking at the weather, I know I shouldn't, but I have. It's looking gorgeous. I think we're going to have to get the sun cream. Steve's looking at me going, no, you haven't. You can't do it. It's happened. I've been tagged. I've looked. Does that fill you full of promise, that knowing that it's going to be sunny, the track's going to be warm, meaning that the traction's going to be there for your car? What sort of times do you think you could run, maybe if you've done any updates for this season? Give us a prediction on an ET that you want.
I would say with good weather, I would like to do a 6.0 at some point, but we'll see.
Not quite there for a sub 6 then.
Not yet. I mean, no. I don't want to run before I can walk.
No, that's it. I mean, considering was it only last year that you actually got fully licensed in the car, and on the same weekend you won the event as well?
Yeah, I got my license on the Friday of Summer Nationals. That was after I'd gone into the field with no parachutes. I won the event. You do have to have an element of luck in drag racing, and I did have luck that weekend. But I learned a lot, and I did surprise myself a lot.
I mean, for the people at home, what does it take to get a license that you were just talking about? So what do you have to do to get to where you are?
So to get a Pro Mod license, you have to do a certain number of things. So you have to do a 60 foot, which is basically a launch. you have to be able to pull the parachutes and show that you can control the car. And I believe you have to run over 200 miles an hour. And I think it was 7.3, but I don't know if that's gone down now, because obviously a 7.3 in Pro Mod isn't competitive. You need to be running 6.1s to be competitive now.
There's something respective of the class number. And as you said, as the class gets quicker, I'm sure that number gets lower and lower and actually makes it harder for people to get licenses as the years go by.
Oh, definitely, yeah. But I would recommend to anyone that would like to race a Pro Mod to get into something slower first, because I started in juniors when I was about 12. Then I went into my brother's Ford Pop in Pro ET, which gave me experience. I was only running 10s in that, but it's still quite fast. Only. And
there's Steve sitting here going, I'm doing 16s and you're only 10s.
When I compare it to a 6, though, it's different for me. And then obviously I got into the Mustang that I got from Dave Townsend. I was running 7s, and then I was adamant that I wanted to be in Pro Mod, so that's when I jumped into it.
I mean, Steve, so obviously, because you're obviously, as we said, your MX5, you're looking at about 16ths. What would you say is your is your biggest challenge to get a good time in that Mazda?
It's how hard I launch and my reaction time, really, and third gear. I like destroying gearboxes.
So how long, dare I ask, does a gearbox last in competition?
About 1.5 events. So every time I went into eliminations, the gearbox went.
I'm calling that driver error. I don't get that every weekend at Run What You've Run. This is just a Hulk thing. You must be in the car just going, Hulk smash in the third gear, and then obliteration.
I mean, so obviously, because a Sportsman is basically, you can pretty much just turn up in whatever car you've got and compete. For the people at home, Steve, how do you get involved in the Sportsman, and what advice would you give to someone who may be sitting and thinking, actually, you know what, I've got a couple of weekends off this year, I might get involved in the Sportsman E2?
Well, again, it was Luke, because I learnt about the VW DRC and learnt that the VWs could do it. And then I think I messaged him and said, look, is there anything I can enter the Mazda in? And he said, well, yeah, Sportsman ET. And so, yeah, I joined it through Luke pretty much.
That's it. Just like the Nike says, just do it. There is a class for every car out there. It doesn't matter how fast or slow you go, you can get in. And the good thing about the drag racing family is you could be running a 28-second car, but people will still like you just as much as if you're Annie Wallace trying to run 6s.
I must admit, Annie, your Mustang, your Mustang's a good colour.
Everyone is a big drag racing family, and when people go down to the social gathering area in the evening, everyone just mingles together, and it doesn't matter what class you're in. It's not like Formula One. It's not like touring car. You get to mix around with the different things. And the same to people who are watching this weekend, obviously, as we're looking for Festival of Power at the Easter. If you're going to come along, one of the best things that drag racing has is that the pits are open. Everyone is a VIP. Everybody can go around to the pits, and you can look at Antti Horto's car. You can look at Jason Phelps. You can look at Annie's. You can look at Steve's. If you go to Steve, he'll probably have you in the car taking photos for the gram.
Yeah, I mean, I will vouch for that. I went to the first drag event I went to was the Spring Speed Nationals about 6 years ago, and I was just amazed at all these sort of American muscle cars that were taking part. So I went down to have a look, and the first I remember just walking through the pits, and you've got all these gazebos out, all these cars getting repaired and changed, but they've always got time to literally just have a chat with you, you know. Oh, what's happened here then? I'm just doing this, I'm doing this. Oh, look, this is the clutch that I just broke in the previous run. You know, there's a bit there. Do you want to take it? You know, it's that sort of thing. That's what's so good about this. It's unlike none other, that you can just walk through the pits and you can really get to know the drivers behind the machines and the people that have created these machines from pretty much nothing. I mean, Andy Bond springs to mind with his Chevrolet thing that seems to just rocket off the line at every opportunity. It's insane. But yeah, you know, we've got, it's not just these classes that we're talking about, we've interviewed with at Festival Power, is it, Luke? There's so many classes taking part this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, there's 23 classes entered this weekend. It is, in fact, when I was speaking to Ian Marshall from SPRC, he said since 1987, this is the largest entry Santa Pod have ever had for any race meeting. And the fact that we're in the situation that we are, coming out of a pandemic, rising bills for everybody, fuel costs going up, and the fact that 312 racers have still put the money in their pocket to come and not only put on a show for people going to Santa Pod, but obviously just going for their drag racing fix. So I'm really excited for this weekend. I'm so grateful that the weather is looking good, and I can't wait to see some of the classes, especially obviously like the class that Annie's in. Pro Mod is always one of the fan favourites because you see Top Fuel and you see Nitro Funny Car. They are fast and they are loud and they're exciting, but you can relate to Pro Mod. It's, you look at a car and go, I know that car, I like that shape, and you work your way through. And like this weekend, I think you've got 7 in your class, have you, Annie?
I think I've got a couple more now, actually. So we've got Andy Robinson back, and I believe Michelle Turenne and John Doulemont are coming over as well, which weren't with us last year.
Nice. So there you go. We've even got racers coming over from Europe on a national race meeting. So looking into the championship this year, it should be really good, especially when we move on to like the main event. I mean, if we've got 312 entries for a UK national event, I mean, Darren at Santa Pod, when he's doing the pitting, he's going to have one hell of a headache come main event.
He's going to have a nightmare this weekend trying to get them all into the pairing lanes at the right time.
I've already seen on Eurodragster.com, it's like, please, you have 2 pit passes, you have 2 vehicles, that is all you are bringing in. That is all I can fit in because there is so many. I mean, anyone that's watching that has been to Santa Pod Raceway, maybe you've been along for a run with your brung, or you've been to the Ford show or USC, any of the lifestyle events. If you come this weekend, it is a completely different feel. The pits is a completely different look. When you walk into the pits and it is big rig, big cars, it's just a completely different atmosphere that you'll get at a lifestyle show. So I just say to anyone that's been to Santa Pod Raceway before but has never been to a race meeting, please do come and join us this weekend, Easter weekend, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. The sun is going to be out, and it's not just a drag racing venue, of course. As we mentioned earlier, you've got your monster trucks, you've got your stunt rides, there's a circus, there's escapologists, there's usually wrestling and robots and stuff like that. So there's enough there to keep not only adults and teenagers busy. If you've got little kids and stuff like that, there's enough to keep you busy for a good day out or at least a weekend.
But bring your sun cream because you can get torched so easily at Santa Pod.
Yes, definitely. That's the main thing. I mean, even the weekend just gone, a lot of people have got what we call pod face, which is basically where you're sitting in the sun, you're not really noticing it because there's a little bit of a breeze, but you're going to go home with a nice red face.
Yeah, and we haven't even spoken to you yet, Luke, because you are also competing yourself in your dragster. Where do you think you will realistically finish on Sunday evening?
Obviously. It's all confidence here. At the moment, the car is in bits. We're arriving tomorrow night. We're going to start putting the engine back together, ready for qualification on Friday. Much the same as Antti and Jason said, that first run of the season, I'm sure I'll be a little bit nervous about it because it'll be the first time I squeeze back in the car for the year. It's probably, I don't know if you get the same sort of butterflies on the first run of the year, Annie.
Oh, yeah, I do, definitely. I haven't raced since July last year as well because Bobby did the last 2 events. So I've got that little bit longer that I've waited.
Yeah, even now I'm sitting here going, oh, we're going to be racing in a couple of days. Yeah, it's kind of I'm just sitting there thinking about it. And then every once in a while when I'm driving the truck and I stop and a lay-by, I'm like, get the Jegs app out, let's start playing, get my reaction time down. I'm looking forward to this weekend. We don't know what we're going to do. I've got my tuner there anyway, so we'll be having a look. We need to work out what we broke last time, first of all. That's where my head is at the moment, is prevent what happened last time, and then we'll work from there. I'm not really because the class that I'm in is bracket racing, the same as Steve. I dial my own index, so I can adjust it, and I can start off slow and gradually creep it up if I feel the need to, and just see how the weekend goes. I mean, it's a long season, so we've got racing again in 2 weeks' time at the Spring Speed Nationals, an event that you've been to before. So yeah, in it for the season.
I mean, looking at the VW DRC test day a couple of weeks ago, the VW DRC Pro is going to be incredibly competitive this year.
Yeah, I mean, we're starting off the first event with, I think it's only 18 cars entered, but we have a potential. The thing is, Bug Jam is the biggest meeting of the year in the middle of summer. That's when our entry basically doubles, and you get people who only come in for the one race of the year, just taking part. And you like myself, I have come second in the championships twice. Each year, Bug Jam, I've either qualified, say we've got 32 cars, I've been like 34th qualifying, I've been 28th, I've lost in round one every time, and it's literally Bug Jam is my nemesis. It was only till last year that I actually sorted out and got to the semi-finals. So we're starting off strong. The season's going to get busier and busier, and the BWRC is going to continue growing in its 35th year this year. So we've got a brand new magazine that we're going to be giving out, or not selling out, to the general public this weekend. So if anyone's going along, make sure you pop to the BWRC pits. It's a really nice annual that we've put together, all about the club, previous chairmans, and there's a nice bit in the middle with all the racers. We've done top trump cards for all the racers. So we're going to get the kids, and they just go, I'm going to give all the racers a Sharpie, and I'm just going to tell anyone that buys an annual, I'm like, go and bother every racer. Go and get signatures.
Yeah, exactly. As we keep saying, it is something that it's brilliant. It's a brilliant, fun weekend that you can do. You know, take your camper van and just park up. You can camp overnight, so you don't even have to travel anywhere. Annie, final word from you. What do you expect realistically from this weekend? And for the people at home, what should they be watching out for in the Pro Mod class?
What do I expect? I mean, that's a hard question because you don't know what's going to happen with them cars. Half of it is just lift the clutch up and hold on for dear life. No, I hope I can get back to 6-1 where I was at Summer Nationals. I need to get comfortable in the car again. I haven't been in it for quite a long time. And just tweak a few little things. And what to look out for. To be honest, everybody that is entered in the class is very, very good and very competitive. So to watch them all will be very interesting.
And the same to you, Stephen.
I'm going to win it. I'm not going to break a gearbox, and I'm going to win it.
And you're going to unveil a new look car.
Yes, and we're unveiling the new look car, and we've got a new mascot this year as well.
I'm looking forward to seeing how you hide this new look car as you drive into Santa Pod.
Yeah, that's it. See, I'm coming in on the Wednesday, you see.
So am I. I'm going to get some spy pictures. And the same for me. I'm hoping to do well. Make sure you follow VWDRC and EFWD Luke on Instagram and Facebook. You can find all of my and follow the racing, please.
Exactly. And for those of you at home, if you got a chance, please go. Don't doubt it. Just go. Just, pay the money. It is pre-book only, so you have to book online. It's not a gate. You don't turn up at the gate with no ticket because you will be turned away and told to buy it online.
You kind of won't be turned away, but everyone's got a phone these days. So they will literally be like, they've probably got a QR code right by the window, and they'll go, scan this, and it will take you to the page. But obviously anyone that does that is going to be holding up the queue.
And it will probably be quite a big queue.
Yeah, it will be. Well, unfortunately, that's the one thing that's not going to be disappearing after COVID is the pre-book system, which, you know, it is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it.
Exactly. So pre-book before you come, but you'll have a whale of a time. You know, they've got so much food. You've got the famous Santa Pod food bars and everything as well. There's the pub as well that you can go and sit at when it's all done. You've got the mound you can just sit on and burn. You've got the grandstand that you can sit on and burn. You know, you've got the pits you can walk through and burn. It's just great. And I say burnt because every time I've been to Santa Pod, I've burnt. No matter what I put on, I've burnt. I've been to about 12 events, and every single one of them I have burnt.
If it helps you, they do sell sun cream in all the Santa Pod shops. Be sensible, sir. Be sensible.
And maybe some ear defenders, because those top fuel cars do hurt.
Or visit the traders and get yourself a nice sombrero.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Annie, for your taking up your time. I know you've got some car preparing to finish. And Stephen, I'm guessing your car's probably pretty much ready. But
I finished about 2 hours before this call.
Thank you so much for taking up your time, you two. And thank you so much, Luke, for taking up your time. Have a lot of fun down at Santa Pod. If you're not going, check out the live stream. I'm sure Santa Pod live streaming it. It'll be an incredible weekend. I know I'll be glued to the screen and listening to.
Please do. So, YouTube, Santa Pod TV, or Santa Pod Raceway Facebook. We go live 9:00 Friday morning. So please do tune in and enjoy the racing. It is completely free to watch online.
Exactly. So thank you so much, guys.